Hi there, June 7th, 2020. I'm Buttar, and it's the 84th day of my lockdown diary, and I've been recording my experiences and some data analysis of the statistics and some headlines from my area and around the world that interest me and my analysis of those for, 84 days, about 2 quarantines, a little more than 2 quarantines now. And I think I am not alone in that. I think a lot of the world is currently locked down or quarantined or under some form of heavy restrictions on their movement, their purchasing, their trading, their socialization, their culture. Everything really that we see as normal and part of our lives is really on hold right now in most parts of the world, including here in Canada. So I will continue to record my experiences and my observations, and one of them I've noticed is that people are waking up in droves right now. And I realize that waking up is kind of a loaded term. A lot of people don't like the term, and it's overused, and it doesn't necessarily describe the process perfectly, but I'm going to use it here because just for discussion. So it's more of a conscious awakening than an actual physical waking up from a sleep. But waking up is kind of the common term, so I'll continue to use it. And like I said, people are waking up in droves right now, and I think you may have seen that also. Of course, it's not everyone that's waking up right now, but this is a time like in 2001 and the years following, as the 9/11 attacks ended up being very clearly, if not an inside job, then definitely not the way that the official story, which is just basically a cover-up, said. So in those years, a lot of people were waking up and continue to do so, and that is when I started to wake up. And at the time I was married, I had a big mortgage, job. I was working as a nurse in psychiatry and in extended care with elderly. And I was just really involved in the system, and it was hard to wake up. And my life, my family life there, and the systems that I was involved in kept me from waking up, even as information was coming into me that made me realize something's not right. And I had been feeling it for a long time before that, even through the 90s, even as things got a little bit weirder, and I realized something's not normal, something's a little bit different than the way it had been in the earlier 90s or in the 80s in my childhood, and things had just progressed and progressed and progressed. And it took a lot of time, but through internet, people that I met on YouTube in the early days of YouTube, 2006 and 7, and sites like StumbleUpon, where you can, if you've never been there, it allows you to, I don't even know if it's still there, but it allowed you to hone in on what you were interested in. It allowed you to find what you were interested in. It would show you all kinds of content from around the internet, various sites, YouTube, and before YouTube, even just other video sites, and it would just bring it from all over and show you. And then if you liked it or not, then it would show you more of the content you liked and less of the content you didn't, and it just kept on honing in. And that was a site that allowed me to realize what I was interested in, and it was basically conspiracy theories, because I realized there were conspiracies really happening in the world, and it wasn't just, oh my god, you're a conspiracy theorist nut job. There actually are conspiracies, which are secret plots, and there are other things going on, like corruption on a grand scale, and maybe even something more than that going on. Very deep level stuff that I only just got a hint at in those days. But I started to realize that, I wasn't necessarily apolitical as I thought. I had stayed away from politics all my life because I was disgusted with it every time I looked at it. But I realized there's something deeper and something beyond that. I learned about the Constitution of Canada and of the United States and of other countries. I've learned about founding fathers, and I've learned about liberty. And I know that not all of those people, not all of those projects, not all of those ideas were perfect or are perfect. But that was a much broader understanding of politics and of philosophy and those kind of things, and how to live your life, basically, than I had ever been exposed to before. And I really started to have a broader understanding of everything. And as pieces started to come together, and I started to double check that they were correct on other sites from other sources, and I started to realize who was more trustworthy, which sources I could trust, and which, companies, which organizations, which corporations, which governments, which countries even, which armies and which churches and which institutions around the world, just everything, which I trusted and which I didn't, and things started to divide for me. I started to think of things, okay, police, definitely in the side of not trusting unless they've, proven their trust, kind of thing. Government, same thing. Church, the same thing. I started to realize that I'd been lied to by many different layers and many different groups, many different people, and some of them didn't even know they were lying to me. But basically, my head had been filled with a lot of lies. I had a lot of truth in my head too, but I had to figure out which was which, and it took several years of nonstop introspection, of nonstop research, of double-checking, triple-checking, of going to the scientific data, of reading analysis by other people, and just over and over and constantly honing and reanalyzing for years. And it wasn't until 2009 that I started my channel on YouTube, and that, which was a wonderful experience and has led to wonderful things, and I have continued to wake up even as I did that channel, and I helped other people wake up, and I was absolutely learning as I went. And I have never said that I was an expert at that, but over time I suppose I have become a bit of an expert in certain things as I've gone on, but a lot of people and I continued to wake up. It's not a moment, it's not a are you awake or not, really. There is many different things that people need to know in order to have a full understanding, and which obviously points to the fact that I myself don't have a full understanding. I am not fully awake. I don't know everything. I am not fully conscious, right? And I'm not even fully mature. I'm still growing and learning how to be a person. So through all of that, and right now especially, there are people waking up as they learn that history is not as we were told, and that when you learn all those things that you didn't learn properly the first time, or many of those things, then that starts to change your perception of other things. And as you re-examine essentially everything in your life, and it has taken me a good 10 years to really feel like I have gone through and analyzed all that stuff and rethought about it from a awake, conscious frame of mind. And even then, there's still things that I'm advancing on and learning and waking up to. And I think this time for me has been a major wake-up call. I am waking up right now. And, so it's definitely not just a one-time thing. It is a staircase. And there's steps that we take to wake up, yes. They can come in spurts even, or several steps at a time. And I don't even think there's a top or a bottom to the staircase. So it's just, all it matters in which direction you're going in. And I am going in the consciousness direction. I'm getting more conscious. And I think a lot of people are right now. A ton of people. There's a video here, is called, it doesn't even matter the title, it's strangely titled. But anyways, it's a doctor called Buttar. And I didn't know him before this, but he's talking here in this video, and I'll put a link, of course, down below so that you can watch the whole thing. It's excellent talk about vaccines and health and the virus and everything that's going on right now. And in under 10 minutes, he very professionally, succinctly, and really well done to talk. He really lays it out there in less than 10 minutes. And it's the kind of thing you can share. It's very credible sounding, and it's all backed up with links. And it's the kind of thing that your family will be able to listen to and hopefully help wake them up a little bit too. And you see in the comments section here, scrolling down to try and find it again. Here we go. Someone named Bella Blanchard. How do these things slip by us? I must have been asleep at the wheel. I've learned more in the past 3 COVID exaggerated months than I have in 30 years. And I see comments like that all over the place. And I haven't seen that kind of response, that kind of amount of people waking up and admitting to it. A lot of people wake up and they're ashamed of it. They're ashamed to have woken up. They're ashamed that they had been asleep, so they kind of don't really announce it. It's not like hey guys, I'm coming out of the closet, I'm awake now. A lot of people just, when it happens, they do it quietly because they realize they had been living a lie their whole lives. And that's kind of why a lot of people can't wake up. That's why a lot of people are staying in that group. Because to admit, to admit these things, to admit that everything has been a lie, that there's been corruption, is to admit that they've been doing everything wrong, and in fact maybe causing a lot of harm or doing a lot of wrong things for a very long time, in fact, their entire lives. It is very, very hard to wake up when you realize that doing so is to admit you were wrong. And it's so hard to say I was wrong, isn't it? And to say I was wrong about everything for my entire life. That is incredibly hard. So kudos and congratulations and thank you to those people who are willing to speak up and say, wow, I was out of it for a while there. For most of my life, for 30 years, I've been confused. And I'm only just finally realizing things are not as they seemed. And that's powerful. That's amazing to see that people are willing to admit it. Some people are not, but some people are. So I know that there's even a lot more people out there than we can see. There's tons that we can see, but tons more that we can't, that aren't saying, hey, I'm waking up. So there used to be three groups, kind of. There used to be the awake group, the completely asleep or statist or I will not wake up, willfully ignorant group. And then there used to be the people in the middle that hadn't really heard the news either way, that hadn't been exposed to it. That group has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller over the years. And now, I think it's almost gone. Essentially, this entire group has just been divided in two. Half of them going toward the awake group side, and half of them going toward the willfully ignorant, it's too painful to wake up side. Ears plugged, eyes closed, pretending that they are, logical and listening and really there, but they cannot accept the truth. These people literally cannot accept the truth. And you know some of them, don't you? I know some of them. They will not and cannot accept the truth. Maybe not until the very end, until whatever ends up happening, and they might realize at the very last moment, like, whoa, wow. Or maybe they really know deep down in their heart and they're just living a lie every day, and that's not good either. That's not good for anyone. And I think there's a lot of people doing that, living a lie and hiding the fact that they know deep down something about this is not right. That not everyone's a conspiracy nut job anymore. That these people have been onto something for, in my case, 15 years, and in the case of a lot of people, a lot longer. Because when I got involved, about 15 years ago, when I woke up and I started looking into this stuff, and I started saying, like, wow, I did not know. And someone said to me, welcome, my friend. And they said, I've been doing this for 15 years myself. I've been awake myself for 15 years. And they said, you can go down as far down the rabbit hole as you want, because it keeps going. And they said, I haven't even found the bottom. Well, that's what I'm saying now to this person. That's my comment here on YouTube. To the lady Bella Blanchard who said, how do these things slip by? I've been asleep at the wheel. I've learned more in the past 3 months than in 30 years. That's what I said to her. I said, as someone said to me 15 years ago when I woke up, welcome, and the rabbit hole goes as deep as you want to investigate. And there are so many people like that right now. So that's how we know that there is no more mainstream. There's no more middle ground. There's nobody who's accidentally asleep. Everyone now has been exposed to the concept of there being systemic, widespread, not just corruption, but that things are not even really the way that we are told. Things are, as they say, stranger than fiction. The truth is stranger than fiction. And as you start to realize the truth about things, a lot of things are 180 degrees from where they should be. A lot of things are complete lies, total lies. And the biggest lies are the easiest to hide because they can hide in plain sight. If you want to tell a lie, tell it often and make it a big lie. That's what the propagandists in the Nazi Party realized many decades ago. And that tactic has been used again and again ever since by all governments. And they are all telling a major lie. And they're telling it often. And a lot of people, because it's so major, because it's told so often, they can't see it. And I think that we're all in that boat. None of us are fully awake and aware of everything. But we are getting there, and a lot of people now are taking that first step and they're saying, wow, I was wrong. And that is powerful. That is someone who will never go to sleep again. That's someone who will always be awake and conscious to some degree, at least to that degree. Whether she goes on from there and keeps learning and keeps digging, I don't know. But now she knows that she was asleep at the wheel and she was tricked for the past several decades of her life. And so I want to put this video down below so that not only can you see the video, but you can scroll down in the comment section and see. There's, not just here in this video, but in a lot of videos and a lot of places on the internet and even in real life, I'm hearing people say, wow, like people are waking up right now. And it's wonderful to see. But that means that this is basically the end game. This means that this is now playing for all the marbles. They're not kicking the can down the road anymore. The economy's done. The New World Order is here. And how that looks, how that takes shape is up to us, because we are the people and the people have the power. It's just we have been bamboozled, and it's taking a lot of time for people to wake up, but now it's happening faster than ever. So is it fast enough? Is there going to end up being enough people on the right side, on the side of good, on the side of truth, on the side of awake? Or is there going to be a larger group on the side of asleep, on the side of willfully ignorant, on the side of evil, on the side of statism, on the side of spreading democracy to the rest of the world, on the side of the Federal Reserve, on the side of the people who did 9/11, on the side of the people who did COVID-19, on the side of the people who did wars around the world for generations now, on the side of censorship, on the side of lying, on the side of hiding the truth, and on the side of tyranny. And those two groups, those two sides, opposing sides, essentially asleep, or the system, and the other side awake, the people, are about to have a massive clash, an ideological clash, maybe a physical clash as well. I don't know what's coming, but those two sides can't exist. They're like matter and antimatter. They can't exist together. And whether it's happened on purpose or it's just naturally happening this way, we are forming two sides. The middle ground is being eroded and disappearing very quickly. And very few people are going to be able to remain ignorant to what's going on at this point. People are choosing, are they awake or are they willfully ignorant and staying asleep and unconscious? Thanks for listening. Stay well.